courtesy of our Publicity and Advocates Department in the Office of the President and Cabinet. Today, we are basically making an announcement on how the provinces have been performing in line with the National Committee on Drugs and Substance Abuse, and also as further cementing government's role under the leadership of the National Chairman of the ruling party, who's also the Minister of Defense, and also the National Chairman for the Drug and Substance Abuse National Committee. So having said that, we have noticed that since January, there's an increase of drugs across all provinces. But I'm happy to say that we have had tremendous progress that has been done. However, it's not enough. I would like to also explain that we are seeing that there's more and more drugs coming from neighboring countries, but the Zimbabwe Public Police is doing a commendable job to try and reduce the supply demand. Having said that, it is my privilege and honor to be advising the nation that we subsequently made 9,620 arrests across all provinces. And they've been ranked in terms of performance of how the provinces have been faring. And we'll start from the bottom going up. We'll start off first with Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, who came out as number 10 out of the provinces. They only managed to do 22 arrests from January to August, and this number has been since advised the province that they need to improve. Convictions, only 5 people were convicted in Bulawayo between January and August this year. That means that there were variance of 17 people who were not convicted and were made to pay fines. Drug bases destroyed, only 4 drug bases were destroyed in Bulawayo Metropolitan Province. And this number needs to significantly go up, all numbers, noting that Bulawayo is now a drug transportation hub. On number 9, with Mashonaland Central, that only managed to do 90 arrests between January and August, 9-0. And to that effect, their convictions were 60. And they've got a variance of 30 people in Mashonaland Central who were made to pay fines for having drugs. And they managed to destroy only 2 bases of drug bases within the entire province. On number 8 is Masvingo Province. Masvingo Province managed to arrest 158 people between the period of January to August. And the convictions, they only managed to convict 36 people, giving us a variance of 122 people that were made to pay fines. In terms of drug bases, they managed to destroy 5 drug bases. On number 7 is Manicaland Province, that managed to arrest 289 people. And of the 289 people arrested, 107 convictions were attained, and 182 people were let go with fines. Manicaland, however, managed to work very hard in destroying drug bases, where 25 drug bases were destroyed. However, the number of drug bases and the number of arrests are not tallying, and therefore more work needs to be done to ensure those behind the drug bases in Manicaland are arrested. Matabeleland North Province managed to arrest 388 people, and they come in on number 6, with convictions being 13, with having a variance of 375 people who were made to pay fines instead of being convicted. And drug bases destroyed were 5 drug bases. Noting that it is a huge province, a large province, we expect this number of drug bases to be increased forthwith. Midlands Province came in at number 5. And Midlands Province, we saw a slow start to the year, but due to the interventions of the Honorable Minister of State, who's been on the ground rallying the troops against the fight against drugs, managed to do 482 arrests, largely in the last 3 months, and convictions were 136. And 346 convictions were attained. In fact, 346 people, that's the variance, meaning that 346 people paid fines. They, however, have one of the joint highest number of drug bases, that is 54. But the number of drug bases destroyed needs to increase the number of arrests, and more work needs to be done in Midlands. On number 4, we have Mashonaland West Province with 683 arrests. convictions being 136, with a variance of minus 547 people who were made to pay fines. And they managed to destroy 54 drug bases. And these numbers need to go up in terms of the arrests, but a lot of people in Mashonaland West were let go with fines instead of being convicted. On number 3 is Mashonaland East Province with 713 arrests, with convictions being 39 and the variance being minus 674, meaning this is one of the greatest number that we have had so far of people who were made to pay fines instead of convictions. And the drug bases destroyed were 35. However, more work needs to be done in Mashonaland East, as some districts are yet to provide satisfactory numbers. On number 2 was Matabeleland South with the 1,509 arrests and unfortunately 96 convictions, and them coming in with a variance of minus 1,413 people were only made to pay fines, whilst only 96 went to prison. Unfortunately, Matabeleland South, 0 drug bases were destroyed, and this is despite having 5 border posts where a lot of drugs are in transit. So Matabeleland South has been urged to ensure that they destroy all drug bases, especially those being used by cross-border smugglers of drugs. On number 1 was Harare Metropolitan Province with 5,286 arrests. 5,286 arrests. Over 50-55% of arrests in the entire country came from Harare Metropolitan Province. However, convictions were only 215 convictions out of the 5,286, meaning in Harare Metropolitan Province, 5,071 people were issued with fines. However, Harare has managed to destroy 52 drug bases within the reporting period of January to August. Having said that, it is worrying and concerning to the Office of the President Cabinet and also to the National Chairman of the National Drug Committee on Drug and Substance Abuse, Honorable Minister of Defense, Honorable OCZ Muchingur Kashiri. It is very worrying that 8,777 people within the period of January to August were made to pay paltry fines instead of serving prison time. This is a great deterrent in terms of us fighting and winning the war against drugs. In terms of drug bases, only 236 drug bases across the country were destroyed, and we are hoping that more and more communities will come forward and advise the authorities on the number of drug bases and their places where they are so that they can be raided. Having said that, going forward, the following is now being directed to all provinces to immediately implement. Number 1, that all provinces are to conclude all fundraising events by this Friday, the 5th of September 2025, and that they are to ensure that all pledges are honored and paid by the 19th of September 2025. It is important to note that pledges and donations are 2 different things. We are therefore asking that all those who pledged at the national event with His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, at the national launch, and those who have been pledging in all the provincial government events to ensure that their pledges are converted into cash or kind by the 19th of September 2025. Thereafter, those pledges will not be anymore recorded. Number 2, that all provinces are to ensure that they raise a minimum of 280,000 United States dollars per province, with 30,000 United States dollars being transferred to the National Committee on Drugs and Substance Abuse by no later by the 19th of September 2025. So by the 19th of September 2025, all provinces need to have raised a minimum of 280,000 United States dollars. And all these resources will go towards the fight against drugs. Number 3, that all provinces build and operate their own provincial drug and rehabilitation centers by the 1st of October 2025, utilizing the funds raised from their fundraising initiatives. These centers will be officially launched through a presidential launch on the fight against drugs and substances abuse through the coordination of the National Chairman for Drug and Substance Abuse, Honorable OCZ Muchingur Kashi. All centers should be operational by the time of the launch, with actual patients being in these rehabilitation centers. So this also includes Harare Metropolitan Province. They need to also have their own provincial drug and rehabilitation center. Number 4, that all provinces, excluding Harare Metropolitan Province, organize and hold their own provincial march ceremonies against crime, drugs, and substance abuse before the 12th of September, I beg your pardon, before the 12th of September 2025. The Honorable Ministers seconded to provinces, that is the cabinet ministers who have been seconded to provinces, will be the respective guest of honors at all the events. Number 5, that all provinces, excluding that all provinces initiate robust and consistent roadblocks leading into commercial business districts, major towns and cities, including villages, as guided by the respective provincial joint operation commands. Number 6, that all provinces monitor, track, and search bus operators, haulage trucks, mushika-shika vehicles, and all cross-border traders disregard political or industrial affiliation. So we know that there are cross-borders for this, cross-borders for that, different organizations. Everyone is going to be searched for drugs. Disregard if you're affiliated to the ruling party or any party thereof. Disregard you're affiliated to religious groups or any SMM groups. Anyone who's bringing anything across our borders from starting from now has to be searched. If that wasn't being done, it needs to be done. And this means that all provinces that have got border posts, especially Matabeleland South, and especially Manicaland and Mashonaland Central, need to ensure that they intensify their border patrols so that these searches may be done. That all provinces ensure that only youth brought by their parents and guardians are taken under the rehabilitation centers, where they will stay for a minimum of 1 month, 4 weeks, and thereafter immediately transferred to the National Youth Service without going back to their homes. And straight from the youth centers, from the youth service centers, National Youth Service Centers, they'll be taken to the vocational training centers countrywide. So those parents who are going to be bringing their children to provincial rehab centers need to appreciate that once you submit your child to a government rehab, you will not see your child for the next 7 months or so, because they need to immediately be treated. Once they are well, we do not bring them back into the environment of drugs. They are taken to the National Youth Service, where they'll undergo physical and ideological training, and from there they then go for skills development training at the respective provincial rehab centers. Number 8, that all provinces ensure that their rehab centers have an ideology, orientation, and skills development pathway for all treated youths during and post-treatment centers. This will be guided by a drug and substance abuse rehabilitation center operationalization manual to be provided through the Honorable Minister of Defense, who is also the national chairman for the National Committee on Drug and Substance Abuse. So that operationalization manual is almost complete and will be distributed to all provinces to guide them on how rehab centers should be done. To that note also, all those private citizens who are running rehabilitation centers should ensure that they are fully licensed by the Ministry of Health and Child Care and the respective authorities. Otherwise, they will be shut down. Number 9, that all provinces improve their conviction rates by ensuring that there are no more fines. So there will be 0 fines now for anyone caught with drugs, and that no bail be offered to drug and substance abusers, including peddlers. So we are asking that the Prosecutor General's offices across all provinces fights hard to ensure anyone caught with drugs are denied bail, and that the sentencing is swift so that we try and remove these people from our streets and from our institutions. That all provinces enforce a complete ban on private vehicles and public transporters having tinted windows on their vehicles, except for government VIP and security vehicles or those manufactured with standard shades of tints. This follows the increase in crime in transportation vehicles, and especially Mshika Shika vehicles, by armed robbers and other criminals, and also the recent rape of a grade 7 girl in an omnibus. So we will not be allowing anymore any commuter omnibus to have tints. Tinted windows are not allowed on public vehicles. And all of those of you who have got tints where the police will not be able to see the people driving or your passengers, please remove your tinted windows immediately. Or the police will do it for you, or your vehicle will be impounded. Number 11, that all provinces ensure regular and timely press conferences led by the Honorable Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, accompanied by the respective provincial JOC members, clearly articulating and announcing sufficient progress made by the province on the fight against drugs and banned substances, as well as naming and shaming those arrested. Number 12, that all provinces announce immediately a toll-free number telephone line which all members of the public can freely call in and report any drug and substance dealings anonymously. Number 13, that all provinces intensify inspections and closure of unlicensed alcohol outlets, bottle stores, whilst ensuring that only regulated alcohol and cigarette products are sold within these outlets. Furthermore, all public drinking places are to be closed within the stipulated times on their licenses and business permits. So we do not expect most bottle stores to open beyond 8 p.m. as it is stipulated on their licenses. And only nightclubs will be allowed to open and restaurants beyond certain times going forward. This is so that we can curb drugs and substance abuse which is being circulated, and also to remove and manage offenders. Licenses of such offenders and those who are selling alcohol to minors, to teenagers, to underage. As you know, that drinking in Zimbabwe is no under, is it 21? Yes. 18, sorry. 18 or 21? Yes. So we are not going to be allowing those minors. And those who sell to minors will be arrested, whilst their licenses will be revoked permanently. Number 14, that only the Honorable Ministers of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution comment or suggest or speak to the media and other publications on progress attained on the fight against drugs and substance abuse. No member of parliament, councillor, village heads, or any other groupings may speak on behalf of the province. Only the Minister of State through those sanctioned press conferences. We are noticing a tendency by some politicians to start campaigning, or some who are basically trying to be popular by speaking on behalf of government. Our official spokesperson in provinces are the Ministers of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution. 15, that all provinces submit their reports to the Office of Presidential Affairs and Devolution, utilizing the district-based analysis model provided by the 31st of each month for onward consolidation and reporting to the National Committee on Drugs and Substance Abuse. It would please the nation to note that we are now monitoring this entire effort, district by district, local authority by local authority. It is important to note that the fight against drugs, we are no longer as government encouraging workshops and all those gatherings where we are wasting money. That money needs to go towards drug enforcement. So raids are going to happen across markets, across bottle stores, across schools, across universities, and government will be bringing in testing kits. And even companies will be subjected to tests, especially those who operate heavy machinery.